So we have 2 global strategy meetings per year, so where we all sort of meet from around the world. So we have, the president, 3 VPs, representatives from China, representatives from Europe. So 10 or 15 of us will sit around a table and we'll discuss sort of what's happening globally in the fitness industry. It was great. It was obviously my first one in September, so it's great to be involved. But we'll discuss, what's happening in America and what are the trends, and does that match what's happening in Europe? Does that match what's happening in China? And then does that sort of match what's happening down here in Australia? So we sort of sit around a table, we look at, where is currently our R&D being spent? Are we looking at the right projects? Are we looking at bringing in the right products? So it's really looking at the business globally and which way is the right way to go and where are we investing in the right areas. So I think we're trying to learn as much as we can about who our clients are around the world and what products they need to really win in their market. So I think we've been an innovative company in the past where we've really brought products to the industry, and I think that's something that we'll consider to do. We haven't really followed, we've sort of led the way in product innovation. So I don't think that's going to change around Precor. I mean, that's been our sort of blood since we started 30 years ago out of Seattle. So I think that will continue. Obviously there's little tweaks here and there that you've got to look at, and obviously different markets require different things, and what we need in China might be different to what we need in America, and what we need in Europe might be different to what we need in Australia. I could probably point out some specific things that I really think have really shaped and changed the industry over the last 15 years. I think the consolidation probably of the health club market, it's really made up of brands now. So sort of the local independent gym that was run by a family sort of struggling to exist in an ever-changing market. So you'll find that you'll go into different areas and there'll be 3 or 4 gyms and they'll all be aligned with a franchise and those sorts of things. So it's really consolidated. I think also the opportunity that exercises have. So obviously with the PT studios opening up, things like functional training, CrossFit, yoga studios, spin studios. So there's just been a lot of those things come into the market. So really the options that I think the exerciser definitely has really changed the industry. One big one is that obviously the participation in a group activity type training. So doing some research recently, and I found that in America, for instance, group training has increased by 15% in the last 3 years. So someone that's involved in like CrossFit, a functional training class, a group training class within a health club has actually grown by 15%, and one-on-one personal training has actually come down 15%. So actually finding that people are a lot more comfortable to sort of be involved in that group type environment now, and they're probably a lot less vulnerable to exercising in front of other people than what they were sort of 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, a lot of people were sort of nervous to go to the gym and they were sort of intimidated and those sorts of things. But now they're sort of really going with friends. They're happy to be in a group. They share their success and those sorts of things. So I think that's another one. I think probably the one more I'll touch on would be technology. I think technology's really changed the trajectory of the industry. Again, I think probably 3 to 5 years ago, it was sort of starting to come. Wearables at Precor, obviously a big thing with us now is technology and the solution that we have. So there's been a big management between sort of digital and hardware from Precor globally over the last couple of years. I think it's had a huge impact on the industry and a good impact on the industry. I think sort of 3 or 4 years ago when we didn't know a lot about what technology, the role it was going to play. People were quite nervous about technology and what it would do. And we've spent a lot of time internally at Precor working out the best way to introduce technology to the industry, and we look at operators and what their needs are and what the exercisers' needs are. So we're really using technology to try and help the member experience and the operator run their club. So I think people are able to track workouts now. They can have an account within our software. They can track strength workouts. They can get rewards. They can gain badges. So I think we're realising now that it definitely is. It does belong in our industry, technology. I think in the early days, as I said, a lot of people were sort of waiting to see what it would do and whether they needed to go down that path or not. But at the end of the day, we're looking to make people healthier and fitter and give them the results they want. So it's really trying to use technology to try and maximise the member experience and personalise their workout as much as possible.